it's in reverse. I think it's a complete validation of Ripple and their plan. And that was to basically change the way that money moves around. And so they built their ledger, and they have Ripple Net that's moving money around in an ISO 222 compliant way. And most banks are using that already. It gets turned off November 22nd, but all that means is people using the old system will get penalized or have mistakes. The new system is being used right now. RippleNet, because they were on the ISO standards board, I think from the beginning, they have an inherent advantage in that they built their entire structure around the compliance. Now, that doesn't mean people have to use it. They don't have to use the RippleNet network, but it's easier for banks to attach onto, is my understanding. And banks that are looking for rails to be ISO compliant, I think the RippleNet network, by all intents and purposes and everything you see and read and hear, it's an easy network. You don't have to rewrite your entire TradFi to DeFi to get on that and be ISO compliant. So it has a distinct leg up right there. No question about it. As far as XRP use,
go ahead.
That, you don't have to use XRP to use Ripple. So I think most people are using RippleNet in a more traditional way, just for the information to flow more accurately. But I think look at the Clarity Act is everything, Paul, and I know you want to get there. But once we do get more clarity, that's, I think, going to be really good for the XRP use case, because people won't be afraid to hold XRP or any token on their balance sheet. They will have literally clarity. It's an aptly named act. And once that passes, I think that's an enormous hurdle and milestone in the entire blockchain, crypto and DeFi community.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite crypto news related channel. And believe me, today is going to be an exciting episode, as we've got some breaking news with the $1.5 trillion asset manager, Franklin Templeton, as well as $40 billion asset manager Grayscale, have just launched their XRP spot products on the New York Stock Exchange. I've got the data and analytics that we're going to go through during today's episode. The inflows are getting parabolic, and this is what we need to watch for as XRP investors. With all of these products live and hitting the American markets, my anticipation is over these next couple of months, we are going to see that supply very quickly absorbed, not only from the OTC desks, but from the exchanges all around America. I'm also going to take you guys through some updates in regards to the Jpmorgan war on crypto. Now, I know the XRP community, we're very familiar with this. I showed you guys a video last summer where Brad Garlinghouse was sitting on stage talking about how he was debanked from Citibank after 25 years. Today, we're going to show how that's now hitting the Bitcoin community, as Jack Mallers, and I always mispronounce his last name, he was debanked from Jpmorgan for no reason. So we're going to break that down. I'm going to show you the details, guys. We already got over 1,500 live listeners, 909 watching on YouTube. If you're excited and you enjoy this content, smash that like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, let me tell you one thing as well. As XRP community members, today is a great day to kind of pat ourselves on the back. We're going to go through some of the momentum. People are a little bit disappointed by some of the short-term price action that we're witnessing. But again, I'm going to show you how my belief is this is the opportunity that we've been waiting for during this bull market. And all the people who have just gotten into this market over the last 8, 10, 12 months, this could be the opportunity you've been waiting for altcoins. Now, I'm going to take an XRP-centric approach, but you look at Solana, you look at Ethereum, you look at AVAX, you look at Chainlink, even Cardano, guys. A lot of opportunities all across the space. And I wanted to make a brief correction. So in my weekend video, I did an update talking about what I'm anticipating for the altcoins. Ethereum did break its all-time high this cycle only by $300. So previously it was 4,500. It reached a new all-time high of about 4,850. And Solana had a previous all-time high of 260. Its new all-time high in 2025 was about $290 for Solana. So again, those projects did end up breaking their all-time highs, but just barely here in 2025. And once again, we are going to cover the groundbreaking news. XRP ETFs are live on the NASDAQ, on the New York Stock Exchange, and on the CBOE. That's not just exciting for today. That's exciting for tomorrow, the month after, and the years that we're all going to be here together as a community. But let's check out the first 30 minutes of inflows. I wanted to preface this. So again, because Grayscale and Franklin Templeton went live this morning, there was some sort of a delay where they didn't receive a full initial launch until about 15 minutes after other products went live. Somebody who's more familiar with the technology, they can explain it. But if you're looking at why these inflows are relatively low for the first 30 minutes, I'm going to show you the 90-minute update. Volume is exploding right now. Grayscale, Franklin Templeton, they far outpace these first 30-minute numbers. But we've got 4 products live. Canary Capital, the first and smallest company, did $2.5 million worth of volume this morning. Bitwise did nearly $3 million, Grayscale $500,000, and Franklin Templeton just about $900,000 worth of volume. That's about $7 million worth of volume in total. I've also found this really great website, kind of went viral. I'm sure many of our listeners are familiar with this. The xrpmarket.com. You can track all the inflows, spot products. This is totally free. I'm just leveraging it because I found the link on Twitter. But what's really great about this, it'll give you the volume for each individual project. Now, I haven't refreshed this page in about 30 minutes because I was doing prep, but let's check out some of the daily volume. So Bitwise is up to $8 million worth of volume. Franklin Templeton up to $7.6 million worth of volume. So again, I showed you guys in the first 30 minutes, they only did about 900,000. They've nearly 8x that over the next 90 minutes or so. So volume beginning to enter the space. Grayscale is at $1.5 million. Now, again, relatively underperforming. And let me remove this banner from the bottom of the screen so you guys can see all this data. I don't want to have myself in the way either, but we'll go through every single one. So the Rex Osprey hybrid product, $2.5 million. Canary Capital, $5.6 million. XRPM, that's the Amplify spot product, $15 million. Bitwise did $8 million. Franklin Templeton did $7.6 million thus far, and I reported on it prior. The Grayscale XRP spot product currently in last place for the day at $1.5 million, guys. But these are the moments that we've been waiting for, and that's why I'm so excited to track this data here on Good Evening Crypto. The more inflows that we see consistently over the next few months will inevitably have an impact on the XRP price chart. And it's a very simple explanation as to why. And there was a great tweet here I wanted to kind of pull up in correspondence with this topic, and maybe I won't be able to locate it. But the whole reason that it's important is because over the next 6 to 9 months, we can anticipate $25 million worth of daily volume. Well, what are we witnessing right now? Even at those numbers, we are witnessing 200 million units of XRP absorbed off the open market every 7 days. Extrapolate that. That's 800 million a month with only 2 products. Extrapolate that even further. You're looking at 10 billion a year if those inflows and if that volume rate is able to be sustained here in 2025. So it's very simple to see how we could be closing in on this impending supply shock moment where all of these ETF issuers over the next 6 months are accumulating and buying from the OTC desks. And eventually the OTC desks and exchanges don't have a whole lot of XRP to offer. And that's when you'll see that steady increase in price. I'm also going to provide an update in regards to this, guys. I actually may want to start off the episode. I got so much XRP content prepared for today. There's 2 big not XRP articles that we're going to cover. Number 1 is the Fear and Greed Index. For the first time ever, we saw the Fear and Greed Index hit single digits in the crypto space. What does that mean? That means that there is more fear in the crypto market right now than there was during the FTX collapse and during the COVID collapse of 2020. When Bitcoin, someone said, what does Grayscale sell XRP for? They sell the same XRP for the market price. I can go through some of that data later on in the episode, guys. If you're appreciating this content, we got over 1,400 people watching on YouTube, 2,600 watching overall, and we are going through the data and analytics, if you're just joining the program, of the brand new XRP spot products that went live on the New York Stock Exchange. And this is the one, the Franklin Templeton Xrp Etf. This is the product that me personally, I am most excited about, as that company works with over 13,000 institutions and they have over $1.5 trillion in assets under management. Someone said, we ain't scared, abs. No fear crew here. Shout out to you guys. That's exactly how I feel. Now I'm going to break down this Bitcoin Black Swan event because as XRP investors,
OGs or maxi, sort of wanted to
technical difficulties, guys. But as XRP investors, this is something that we have to be aware of. With Bitcoin driving the momentum of the market today, we heard Van Eyck change their tune on Bitcoin. Now, 2 things could be happening here, right? Van Eyck, maybe they're changing their narrative. I doubt it. The second thing I think is happening, they are selling the fear to retail investors in order to get people like ourselves scared and out of this asset class. I'm only going to play about 20 seconds of this. Then we'll dive into our XRP content for today. Here it is.
sort of one of the fundamentals. Now, there's something else going on within the Bitcoin community that kind of non-crypto people need to know about. And that is ultimately, Van Eck has been around before Bitcoin. We will walk away from Bitcoin if we think the thesis is fundamentally broken. We don't right now. But you always have to look at the underlying technology. And the Bitcoin community has been asking itself about, is there enough encryption in Bitcoin? Because quantum computing is coming. And then secondly, is there enough privacy in Bitcoin? And so a lot of Bitcoin OGs or maxis have been looking at Zcash. And Zcash,
What's that?
Zcash is a token sort of related to Bitcoin with a lot more privacy. Because the kind of garbage that we got about Bitcoin 4 years ago is it's like used for all bad illicit behavior. But now everyone kind of realizes when you move money around on the Bitcoin blockchain, you can see it. You can see it move from one wallet to another. And a lot of people are looking for more privacy.
So think about that, guys. The privacy chain narrative is very important. But what I love is what he said about Zcash. This is the game here, folks. When projects are up 1,200%, that's when they'll come on CNBC and they'll sell you the news. Zcash was trading far below these price targets for several years. It had done nothing in the relatively short term. And I like what Planet had to say. I really appreciated this guy's comment on one of my videos last night. He said, I don't think they're trying to scare us out. Those in control will tax us out or simply confiscate it. Now, that's a black swan bearish case scenario. I disagree with that, Planet. And the reason that I disagree with that is because if they were going to confiscate our crypto, if they were going to crush us with taxes, they would have done it during the Biden administration's war on crypto. So remember that. We are now in a pro-crypto administration. We have a pro-crypto SEC chairman. We have a digital asset working group. We have a digital asset czar in David Sachs. All of this is really lining up here. And it's funny because the price charts may be negative, but the institutional adoption, the regulation of this asset class, it's more bullish than it's ever been before. I've been in this space 7 years in January, since 2019. And the one thing that I've learned is that retail always gets it wrong. Retail's always overly excited at the top. They're overly fearful at the bottom. Last time in the bear market during the FTX collapse, when Bitcoin was $15,000, that was the buying opportunity of a lifetime for a lot of people who could have made a whole lot of money. Everybody on Twitter was calling for 8, was calling for 5, was calling for back to $3,000. They missed the opportunity. And that's what I'm kind of seeing right now, where I'm going to take you through the data, guys. The fear and greed index is as low as it's ever been. Not just for this year, not just for the last 3 months or the last 3 years, even since the history of digital assets began being tracked. And the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index has been out there tracking this data. This is the worst sentiment we have ever seen. Mic drop. That is like, take the mic, Gronk spike it. We don't even need it anymore. That speaks volumes about where we are today. And I am going to start breaking this down, but I want to give a big thank you to Chad, keeping his donation streak going. That is like 10 days. I don't even know, Chad. I've lost track here, so I got to go back and get my data correct. ETFs are going to take us up and to the right. Thanks for all you do, Abs. Let's go, chat. Sow some love to GEC. We appreciate every single one of you. Big thank you for the $5 donation and a shout out to the over 223 members that we passed here on this channel. Now, guys, we did do our Sunday morning update, and everybody who was privy to that saw we said we need a daily closure for XRP. Sorry, it was a weekly closure because it was Sunday night above $2. And the reason for that is because that was a key range of support. Now, you guys can see it because I drew the line very well. Since the election of Donald Trump, $1.90, we've never had a weekly closure below those prices. Now, we had this anomaly back in March, but again, $1.85, $1.90 right here. Then we had a higher low at $2. And again, we got an even higher low yesterday at $2.02 on the XRP price chart. I know it's not great. I know it's not the 589 that we're all waiting for, but these are the indicators that let us know XRP's parabolic downtrend may be reversing some momentum here. But with that being said, I wanted to play this brief video. Now, this is Anthony Pompliano. I was going to make a joke about him being the CIA, but I won't do that. Anthony Pompliano, a longtime Bitcoin investor. He even tweeted about XRP back in 2017. And what is he saying? He's doubling down on the narrative that I'm sharing right here. The fear, it's worse than it's ever been.
All right. Everyone knows it's not fun right now for Bitcoiners. We saw the lowest reading in Bitcoin history on the Fear and Greed Index yesterday. It was single digits. This is a different measurement than the stock market. This Fear and Greed Index is Bitcoin specific. We've never seen it go this low. Not even when FTX imploded and people thought the industry was cooked. Seeing a single digit reading on the Fear and Greed Index, I don't feel good. Quentin Francos shows that short-term holders are underwater, but they're more underwater today than ever before. During 2020's COVID crash, 92% of the coins, they were at a loss. During the 2022 FTX collapse, 94% were at a loss. But today, 99% of the coins are at a loss. That's the highest short-term holder capitulation ever recorded.
And just a quick comment there, guys, is that's why sentiment is so low. People have lost money on their investment. And that's what Pompliano is highlighting here. Somebody said XRP is pumping. You know we're going to be live here for the XRP pump. If XRP really starts rocking and rolling here, I'll stay live. We'll watch it together. We'll have a fun episode. And I do have a really interesting chart that I'm going to show you. But let's continue with the Pompliano video, and then we'll break it down.
Now, a big reason for the downward price pressure is selling from large holders. People who've got a lot of coins, they're going and they're selling. Charles Edwards says Bitcoin has never seen this much institutional selling as a percentage of Coinbase volume in all of history. In the entire history of Coinbase, more yesterday than ever before. The last 45 days, they look like a nightmare for short-term speculators. Thankfully, though, Edward Mora shows that we just got the highest 1-hour volume of trading on Binance since the October 10th liquidation event, which he says are things you need to see at the bottom of a drawdown. I don't disagree. People need to step in, they need to buy. And you need this type of buying to help a market recover after Glassnode shows that Bitcoin realized losses have surged to levels last seen during the FTX collapse, with short-term holders driving the bulk of the capitulation. The scale and speed of these losses reflect a meaningful washout of marginal demand as recent buyers unwind into the drawdown. So here's the deal. This stinks. People are not happy. People are feeling the pain. Price volatility never feels good, especially when it goes against you. And Bitcoin now is unfortunately prone to shake the market from time to time. We're down about 32% from the all-time high. We've seen 2 other drawdowns of the same depth in this bull market. The question is the bull market actually over, or is this a reset that we actually needed? I don't know, you don't know, and no one else knows. But it doesn't feel good either way. Stay safe out there, my friends, and remember, this too shall pass.
Well, the one thing that I disagree with that Pompliano said in this video, he goes, volatility is never fun. Trust me, when it's working in our favor, the XRP community knows volatility is the best part of digital assets. And we're looking at the XRP price chart here. This is an example of volatility. Look at this. XRP up 400%, down 25%, up 80%, down 40%, up 20%, down 15%, up 60%, down 40%. That's where money is made in this market. Because again, if we're smart enough to buy the red days and take profit on the green days, that is how we can profit. And I always say this, it's not about how much money you make during the bull market. It's about how much money you keep. And my belief is that we are going to see this speculative asset class explode, starting with projects like XRP. Now, a lot of new listeners are just joining the episode. If you're excited about the XRP ETFs being live, I'm going to continue to show you the data and look at what's happening here. Franklin Templeton in the last 20 minutes just did another $3 million worth of volume. And this is the data that's being shared on the screen right now. Really quickly, I'll take you through this update. We had the Franklin Templeton ETF go live earlier today, $10 million since their 9:30 a.m. launch. That is currently leading the pack. That's pretty much just the way it goes. We've got Bitwise in second place here at $8.7 million, Canary Capital at 5.8, Rex Osprey at 2.7, and Grayscale really underwhelming this morning. And I'm not sure why. We'll have to dive into the impact of that at about $1.7 million. But anybody who watches our channel, you guys know I've been most optimistic about the Franklin Templeton XRP ETF going live. And why is that? They work with 13,000 different institutions, and they have over 1.5 trillion, yes, with a T, in assets under management. I believe they're one of the 15th largest companies in America, and now they're launching an XRP ETF. And as you guys can tell, the volume is kicking in. They started off in the first 30 minutes, only did 900,000 in volume. Now in the last 90 minutes since, they've done over $9 million worth of volume. We're waiting on this inflection point. And for all of our new listeners who are wondering, someone should share that link, please. It is at the top of the screen. It's xpmarket.com. It's a free website. I have no affiliation to them. I just found it on Twitter. I thought it was very useful, so I wanted to use it on the show. So shout out to you guys. We do have 4,200 live listeners, 1,840 watching here. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button to help out the channel. And we already passed 420 likes on the episode. I've also got a major update. So Sal Gilberti and Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan will be joining this show in December. So I think the interview dates are December 9th and December 12th. We're going to be having Sal Gilberti, who issued an XRP ETF, and the Bitwise CIO, who obviously they did $8 million in volume just this morning. He's going to be joining this show. So if you're excited about that, be sure to show up for that episode, ask your questions in chat, and we're going to address them, because the whole purpose of this program, we're going to do live interviews, giving our community some insight maybe they won't find on any other channel here, guys. But why is this such a big moment? It is the beginning of the end for a lot of other altcoins. And I want to highlight this even more clearly. With the largest institutions now having the ability to profit off the growth of XRP, after a couple of months, guys, we're going to hit a major inflection point. And that's what I've been highlighting here on Good Evening Crypto. Franklin Templeton launched an Xrp ETF today with access to over 13,000. Listen to that. 13,000 advisory firms managing trillions in client assets. Franklin Templeton alone manages over 1.5 trillion and offers mainstream wealth platforms direct XRP exposure without custody or operational risk. Lock in the wise words of Brad Garlinghouse, guys. And we talked about that. I do want to give a special shout out to this new member, Rudolph. Big thank you for becoming a member of the Good Evening Crypto channel. We appreciate you guys. And one of the key things about becoming a member, we'll do those Sunday morning members only updates. You're going to get first access to in-person events when we start hosting those. And of course, you get priority in chat as well as your comments answered underneath the video. So if that sounds cool to you, check it out, guys. $4.99 a month. If it doesn't sound cool to you, I totally understand that as well. Now, there is one other video I wanted to play from this interview here where Sal Gilberti is highlighting why Ripple is afraid of, why Jpmorgan is afraid of Ripple. And this is something that we've said for a long time here on the Good Evening Crypto channel. The war on crypto was led by JPM. That's pretty much all you got to remember. Elizabeth Warren, Gary Gensler, all these people, these were mechanisms for the anti-crypto crusade. And what we're witnessing here is a reversal of a lot of that negative momentum that came into the market during the Biden administration. Sal Gilberti highlights this perfectly. So we started off the clip talking about how ISO and the Clarity Act are so important. Here's what Sal has to say about XRP's role in challenging Jpmorgan coin. Here it is.
Before Jpmorgan rival, once they get their banking license, they're going to be incredibly well capitalized. Why would they want to sell XRP? They're going to want to hold on to that. As it goes up in value, they can sell some, clearly. Sure. I just think that Ripple is a machine. It is a highly disciplined team that is, they don't all have to agree on things, and some of them leave to go here or go there. They sure all leave and go somewhere related. So whether it's a master plan, or more likely it's really creative people that work as a team, and they all have different paths that their lives take them on, but they stay in the ecosystem, and they're creating a bigger ecosystem, a more robust ecosystem. I just think Ripple is at the center of the universe. And so Brad says XRP, he's being modest. It's Ripple.
It's Ripple. Well, and I look at it this way. When you think about the adoption curves that we have seen happen in really just 12 months, since last November when Trump's administration took office, the speed in which we have seen movement in the crypto market, we have never seen anything like it this side of things. But do you think we could see XRP-backed municipal bonds in the future?
Obviously, no idea. I think Bitcoin obviously is the natural for people if they want to branch out into it. Yeah. I think, look at the volatility. The volatility in Bitcoin is still pretty big, but it is declining rapidly. So to your show, since Trump was elected, we have a crypto-friendly administration, which is completely different than a crypto antagonistic administration. Even if the Trump administration were neutral, we'd have this immense progress, but they're not neutral. They clearly are crypto friendly. And that's a wonderful thing. And I think that as more money comes in, as the ETFs comes in, as the treasury companies come in, and you see that supply taken off the market of the XRP tokens, in terms of it's in buy and hold. Doesn't stay off the market forever. People buy and sell them as per their needs. But I think these natural, crypto winter, and people saying it's early Black Friday for crypto last week or a couple of weeks ago, all that is nice stuff and buzz for the internet. But the bottom line is you're up hundreds of percent in a year in terms of asset values here. Yep. A 30 or 50% pullback is literally nothing. It's natural. The markets are maturing. The volatility will strip out. It won't go away completely, and they'll still remain, relatively volatile assets, I think, for quite some time. But as these things are used in the financial world stably, okay? Not just for stable coins, but I get that as crypto is used in treasuries to back bonds, things like that. There's no question the whole asset class will become more stable, less volatile, and a more attractive investment for even traditional investors. And that's coming.
And that's really what we've been waiting for, guys, is this mass adoption moment from Wall Street. And I think it's finally arrived here, but we're here to celebrate this moment together. Now, everybody keeps asking, are we in a bear market? Now, I'm going to take you through a little bit of XRP specific data, but it's too perfect not to play this video. Now, I know our daily listeners, you'll remember this, but I really want you to think about this. Do you agree with this thesis from Raul Paul? Now, again, he called this out 6 months ago. This is a video, I believe it's from May of 2025. And he said, everybody will think it's over, but it won't be over because the new liquidity cycle is based on a 5-year debt cycle. And that's the important thing that's changed this time around here in 2025. We got 5,500 listeners here, guys. If you're enjoying this content, especially on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We already passed 573 likes. Can we pass 589 in the name of XRP? I think we can do it. Here's Raul Paul letting everybody know 35% correction comes in. The world will say it's over, but it won't be over. Here it is.
Not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase 1 of the banana zone, banana number 1. The corrective zone, banana number 2 comes. Another correction, banana number 3. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020, 2021. Off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looks very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats. Don't fuck this up. Don't lose control of your tokens. Don't use leverage. Don't get your wallet hacked. Just sit with it. Be careful. Don't get FOMO. Do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of corrections. That's going to be harder because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over. And everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over.
Just to add the data behind this, guys, Bitcoin went from $126,000 down to $81,000. That is a 36% correction. And what did Raul Paul call for? A 35% collapse, a total devastation from retail when it comes to sentiment, and it won't be over. All the retail investors are going to be scared out of this market, and that's when we're going to get that final leg up. And it really appears as if that's happening before our very eyes. Here's the last 30 seconds.
We'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over. And everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith, keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Siri forward with all of this.
1's in chat if you agree with Raul. 2's in chat if you think he's incorrect. I want to give a big thank you to Rocketman Iowa in chat. He said the aliens are coming for our XRP. LOL. Thanks for being live, my man. Well, shout out to you and big thank you for the $9.99. Shout out to everybody who enjoys this content. I feel very lucky that there's so many people out there who are interested in the same topics that I am, who want to watch these videos, who want to indulge in these conversations. That's why I love doing this live show. And I see a whole lot of 1's in chat. Now, somebody's asking, Abs, what was the website called to track the inflows for the XRP ETFs? So the website that I'm currently using here is XP Market, not XRP, XP Market. And you guys can tell the total spot volume for this morning, $45 million just today. And as you guys can see, I'm going to keep tracking the data here. If you're just joining the episode, we did pass 2,000 live listeners watching on YouTube. Massive shout out and thank you to everybody who's watching on the channel. Now, again, what are we really looking at? We are looking at the inflows and the volume for the brand new XRP price chart. And this morning, Franklin Templeton and Grayscale both went live on the New York Stock Exchange and the CBOE. Franklin Templeton is leading the pack, just like we had anticipated, with over $10.4 million worth of volume. That is right behind, Bitwise, right behind, less than 10% less volume here. Bitwise has done $9.1 million worth of volume. And I've showed you this earlier. Bitwise CIO, the person who issued this XRP ETF, will be joining this channel on December 9th. So I'm very, very excited about that. Canary Capital, they did about 6 million in volume. Rex Osprey, that's the hybrid spot product. They're at 2.7. And Grayscale in quote unquote last place here with $1.9 million worth of volume. Here's the good news, still far outpacing the Litecoin ETF launch, guys. So shout out to the Twitter. Shameless over there in the Litecoin community. Now we are 30 minutes into the episode. Again, let me know some of your thoughts in chat, some of the topics that you would like to talk about, because we do have some other interesting ideas that we're going to go through. But if you're just joining the show and you missed the sentiment analysis from earlier, guys, the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is the lowest it has ever been in the history of the Fear and Greed Index. For the first time ever, we reached single digits. We saw Bitcoin Fear and Greed at a 9 on the Fear and Greed Index chart. And what does that mean? It means retail investors are more scared than ever. They're more scared than the FTX collapse. They're more scared than the COVID crisis from 2020. And during those times, Bitcoin, I think it was $20,000 during the FTX collapse. During the COVID crash, Bitcoin was as low as $3,500. Now we're looking at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index in that same zone, and we're trading at $87,000, nearly $88,000 on the price chart. No fear, have no fear. The bull market is here. And maybe it's not here, but if you listen to what Raul Paul said, this is the fake out moment that we've been waiting for. And it's great that our community has the awareness that we shouldn't be overly fearful during times like this. And this is the data that I was showing you earlier. Bitcoin's all-time high, which was created earlier this year, $126,200. Its most recent pullback on its all-time low there was $80,700. This is a 36.1% pullback. And just like Raul said,
and we'll go up to the next phase of corrections. That's going to be harder because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over. And everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over.
And that's where I think we are today, guys. That's my guess. That's my estimate. Once again, one's in chat if you agree. Two's in chat if you disagree. Mariah said, my daughter listens to GEC as well, and she is 6. Well, shout out to your daughter, a future billionaire. If she's going to be in this asset class, she's only 6 years old. So shout out, guys, think about how wealthy some of the long-term investors are going to be in this space. 10 years ago today, Bitcoin was only $350. Now it's $88,000 on a pullback. Imagine where XRP is going to be over these next 5, even 10 years, especially if you consider that this is one of the most versatile, utility-driven digital assets in all of crypto. We do have 7,000 people here. If you're excited, smash that like button. Let us know some of your thoughts about crypto. And there's a lot of people out there who are saying, we're in this bear market. I'm certain I'm a bear. I sold all my assets. And quite frankly, sometimes I just feel...
Well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You fake news.
Fake news. And we keep the fake news off this channel. At least we make an effort to, guys. But once again, the major topic that we're reporting on today, Franklin Templeton and Grayscale's XRP ETFs go live. And we've been tracking the daily volume here all throughout today's episode. We are 33 minutes into the program. If you enjoyed today's content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We got a great 5:30 p.m. update that I'm going to bring. We're going to go through a lot of the data and the specifics when it comes to what we're seeing for the XRP price chart in regards to these inflows. And the question that I asked our live chat today was, does XRP pass $10 in 2026? 80% said yes. 20% said no. That's out of 1,470 votes on today's user poll. You know what my answer would be, guys. With all this demand, with all this bullish momentum, with these ETF products going live and the Clarity Act yet to be passed, we are still trading above $2 on the XRP price chart. Now, again, if you didn't get to catch the weekend update that I provided, look at what's happening here on the XRP price chart. We created a brand new all-time high all the way back last year. I think it was January, the first 2 weeks of January in 2025. We then went on to create a higher low, and we bottomed out here in this ridiculous wick down in April to about $1.61. We then went on to create a lower high, a higher low, and a euphoric breakout. Now we created this brand new all-time high. This is the process of creating a higher low. And it's really interesting that we found support and got daily closures just above these ranges, because again, it could be a higher low, then we create a lower high, then a higher low, and a final breakout. So again, if you want the visual, it would be something along the lines of this. We'd get above this breakout here. We'd come back down, And then we'd get our final leg up, taking us above that $3.65 all-time high that was created earlier this year. And this is more broadly, right? Don't screenshot these lines and think this is exactly how it's going to play out, but it will be along the lines of something like this. And if we're in the process of that 35% pullback where Bitcoin is about to go and create a brand new all-time high, because that's the other end of what Raul Paul is saying. Bitcoin is going to come down 35%. Everybody's going to be tapped out, ready to exit this market. And then we're going to rally. And we're not just going to rally to 110 or 120. According to his thesis, we're going to go back up to at least $140,000 to $170,000. If that occurs, projects like XRP are going to far outperform people's expectations. And that's what I'm most excited about here in 2025. Now, I do want to remind everybody as well, if you haven't checked it out, click on the link below, sign up for ITrust Capital to get access to tax-free crypto gains through a Roth IRA product. Now, the best part about this, guys, you click on the link below, you're going to get $100 free to fund your account and start investing in crypto through your Roth IRA. This is something that I'm taking advantage of. And because I can't touch any of that money for such a long time, why wouldn't I want exposure to XRP? If XRP is here in 30, 40 years, I'm going to be glad and thankful that I took advantage of a tax-free product. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button. Someone said abs is ripping. I think you mean the XRP price chart. Hopefully you mean the XRP price chart's ripping. We are trading at about $2.11. What I'm really waiting for, can we get above 216? After 216, we need a big move up to about 275 in order to reverse that momentum. That's probably going to take a little while to play out, but here's the best part. We're going to be here live covering this data every single day. Now, I'll give you some final updates here in regards to the ETF. Again, Franklin Templeton, $10.7 million worth of volume. Second place, we have Bitwise with 9.4. Canary Capital was 6.7. And then Grayscale with about $2 million in daily volume. And altogether, that's about $50 million worth of spot trading daily volume just today before 12 a.m. So we love you guys. We appreciate you all. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and get ready because hopefully the worst is behind us, but only time will tell. So we love you guys. We appreciate you all. Go out, enjoy the day. It's a sunny day in Boston, Massachusetts. So I'm going to go get some sunlight, and we'll see you guys at 5:30. I should say, we'll see you all in the next.
I'm going to be so proud of you, President, and I don't care about that. But you are going to be so proud of your country because we're going to turn it around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. See, the bottom line is, well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You fake news.
So if you're looking to do the same strategies that we implement here on Good Evening Crypto, I would advise everybody sign up for Merlin and click on the ITrust Capital link below. Now, why did these two ideas play off one another? Merlin is going to allow our listeners to understand where they should be taking profit in this market, and ITrust is going to allow our listeners to take that profit tax-free through an IRA product. Now, that's not the best part about this. We are giving new clients a $100 sign-up bonus using the promo code GEC9. So I would encourage everybody, click on the link below the video, use promo code GEC9, and set yourself up for success during this crypto bull market.